Greetings. In today's video we talk about audio. There's three sections to the video. First I'll talk to you about some of the audio equipment that I use and some of the theory behind it. In the second part we go out into the field and we use the equipment and I show you some examples of how it performs under different conditions. And in the final part we use some different wind protection with two shotgun microphones that I own. For this video I'd recommend you use headphones if you have them, and if you want to navigate between the different sections of the video you can use the timestamp below. So if you want to get into recording audio for nature videos or for whatever it may be, there's a few things that you're going to need. So first of all, obviously if you want to do video you're going to need a camera. So right now I'm recording on two cameras. We have the Nikon Z9 and then we have the Nikon Z6 II over to the right. So you're seeing me from two angles right now. These cameras both have lenses, so that's one part of it. And as far as audio is concerned, I have the Sennheiser MKE600 plugged directly into the Z9 with a 3.5mm plug and a cable. Then on the Z6 II, I'm using the DJI Mic 2 receiver and the Bluetooth transmitter. So some of the equipment that you'll need if you want to get into recording audio, you'll need a microphone, and if you want to record audio that you later then apply to your videos, you'll need what's called a field recorder. The field recorder that I have is the Tascam FRAV2. So this does not record audio itself. It's not a microphone. Some field recorders do actually have built-in microphones, so you can get them and straight away you can go and record audio. This field recorder uses external microphones and you plug them in and that's how you'll then record some sound. So I'll show you how that's done. So this particular microphone is the Rode NTG5. It's a shotgun microphone, and basically I use what's called a XLR cable. So this plugs into the microphone. This is a 3-pin XLR. So that's plugged in there. The other end then goes into the Tascam. Then if I was going to record audio now, I'd turn this on, go and have a little point around. Other microphones I own are the CLippy EM272 microphones. So we have two separate types of microphone here. As I mentioned, shotgun microphones which are directional. This is what we call the polar patterns. This is where the audio will be picked up from or rejected from with the microphone. So shotgun microphones, they have different patterns, such as cardioid or supercardioid patterns. Basically that means that it's going to reject sound that's coming from the sides, pick up sounds that are coming from where you're pointing the microphone at. So, Sennheiser on the Z9 right now is directional. I'll actually walk over to the side and speak to the microphone. You'll see me doing this on the Z6 II, but you'll hear me on the Z9. So now when I'm speaking it's going to sound a little bit more muffled, whereas if I come back round to the front it's going to be a lot clearer. Now, because I am kind of close, it might not be the biggest difference. Also, if you're not listening with headphones, you might not be able to hear that big of a difference. But there should be some sort of audible difference. So that's a shotgun microphone. This is brilliant for sound effects. Like if I want to record water, if there's a deer grunting and I want to get him, or a specific bird on a tree that I want to try and capture, this would be a good one for that. Alternatively, for a more ambient and immersive audio experience, you can use what's called omnidirectional microphones. So if I was using these right now to record audio, you'd really be hearing the vehicle and trailer that's just gone by. It wouldn't reject the sound at all, it picks up sound from all around. Whereas the shotgun microphone points it at me and rejects the ambient noise. So I'll put up some pictures now so you can see these patterns. So the other thing to think about is you have what's called mono versus stereo recordings. So a mono recording is where you use one microphone, so you're getting one sound source. It's not really as immersive. So when you hear this in the headphones right now, it's going to be even sound basically in both ears. With the stereo matched, well, not stereo matched, we'll get into that. With a stereo pair of microphones, you get to hear directional sound. So if I were to speak to this side of the microphone, you'd hear it more in this one than that one. So we'll get some examples of that later. But that's the basics. So you need either a camera, which you plug directly into, you need a field recorder, then you either need maybe some external microphones, or your field recorder might have them built in. Then you just need to consider, do you want ambient sound where you pick up everything, or do you want directional sound where you get specific noises? So just to broaden our comparison, I've taken the Sennheiser off of the Z9, so you're now hearing me on still the DJI Mic 2 on the Z6 II, and also with the Nikon Z9 built-in microphones. So those microphones are less directional, so you should be hearing all sorts of stuff. There's birds, there's gates, there's people cutting grass. The audio experience should be very different to when we had the Sennheiser on the camera. So the thing I'm just going to talk to you about briefly now is wind protection. So if you get a microphone, this is what you're getting, okay? So this is the tube, so where the sound goes in, rejects sound, and any bit of wind blowing across this or into this can really ruin your audio. You get a recording like that later and you get to hear the horror that is poor wind protection. Some of the common wind protection that people use is what's called a dead cap. So this one is the Bumblebee Wind Killer, and basically it goes onto your microphone and that will dampen the wind that hits it, and it should reduce the sound of the wind and give you better audio. Now there's different types, there's different expenses. I got a cheap kit wind killer with my Rode NTG5. Personally, I don't really like it. I did a comparison between the Sennheiser and the Rode a while ago, and that dead cat was, I won't say it's terrible, but it was nowhere near as good as the Bumblebee Wind Killer. That's a different story, we'll show you that later and you get to hear that again. But this is a dead cat. Now, a more expensive form of wind protection is what we call a blimp. So here I have a Ryco NTG5 blimp kit. So basically here's my microphone. Here's the tube, it's on this little cradle. That's sort of supposed to help with reducing, if you knock your microphone or if you're walking like a ninja, it should help to reduce the vibrations. Basically, this basket goes around the microphone, and this in itself will offer some degree of wind protection. If you have a still day like today, now if I was trying to go out and record a bird, this would be a fantastic setup. However, on a windier day, this will not cut the mustard. So we need what's called a wind jammer. This is the wind jammer. It came with the kit, and basically this goes around our blimp. So it goes around our blimp like this. Let's pull it over. And this is an absolutely fantastic way to dampen the wind. So when you see news reporters and they're there, they're recording, you've got these things, basically that's what it is. It is a blimp with a wind jammer. They often boom it overhead. And like now, there's a tractor. If I had this microphone and I had my input, my gain set very low, it'd be picking me up and it'd reject the sound of the ambience. And as well, yeah, that's how they use it. But yeah, the point is, this really reduces wind noise. So we have two forms. We have the dead cat, then we also have a basket with a wind jammer. For my CLippy EM272s, they have a simple little setup. So here is our what's called the microphone capsule, and basically there's a little bit of foam. The foam will go onto the microphone, and then our wind jammer goes around that. So that offers a good degree of wind protection. It's not the best, but the real kicker here is you can spend more on your wind protection than you can on the microphones themselves, which is very annoying. You get a nice new microphone and you go, right, I want to go record some sound, and the wind says no, not today. So now you're looking at spending a sufficient amount of money on wind protection. Now thankfully this was part of the kit, so it came with two microphones, it came with the stereo bar and the wind protection. So it was a very good package, it was reasonable. I'll include a link in the description to these microphones. I'm not affiliated with them, it's just a microphone that I've used and genuinely would recommend. Now, personally, I have been looking, there is effectively like a basket and wind jammer combination for these capsules. It is eye-wateringly expensive, and for that reason I have not yet got it, but I will hopefully one day in future. So that's a little bit about wind protection. It's So we'll stop now and then we'll go out into the field and we'll make some recordings. We'll do a dawn chorus, we'll get some sound effects, and you'll get to hear some of that audio. So that is the CLippy EM272s. It's early in the morning. There is a sedge warbler. I don't know, it's not very far, it's just over there, so that's like the main thing you're hearing in that recording. But what you should get from that is a stereo recording, so you have the two microphones and you should get that directionality to the sound, so it's more immersive. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go down the road. There is a little plantation, like forest plantation, and we're going to go have a little listen there. There's some streams near there, so we'll be able to incorporate a different sound into our recording, and hopefully there won't be a really dominant bird there like this sedge warbler, which kind of overpowers the recording, so we'll get to hear a bit more of everything. So we'll go try that now. We're now at the second location. We're in the woods, and you'll really be able to hear the stream in the background. It's probably about 30 to 40 feet behind us, and it's going to be quite a dominant feature in this recording, but there is also some nice bird song around. And this is one thing that I've really enjoyed about starting recording audio, is you develop an ear for the different birds that are in the different areas. So in that last recording, lots of sedge warbler, it was a different environment. It was an area where there was a forest that's been cut down in the last few years. You can hear a completely different little sort of population of birds that are singing. Now when we're here in this young forest which is growing, there's a lot more wrens, song thrushes, might get the odd robin here and there. I think I can hear either willow warbler, something like that in the background, so it's completely different. So we will make a little recording, you guys can have a listen. Right, so now that we have our stereo recordings of the CLippy EM272s, I'm going to go for a stroll with the shotgun microphones. So we have the Rode NTG5 with the Ryco NTG5 basket. I've taken the wind jammer off, it's not too windy. Then I have the Sennheiser MKE600 with the Bumblebee wind killer on it. The Rode NTG5 is into the first channel on the Tascam. Sennheiser is into the second channel. Throughout this recording, what I'll do, or throughout these recordings I should say, I will keep approximately a 5 to 10 dB difference in gain, since the Rode is more sensitive than the Sennheiser. So that's just so you understand how I'm recording. If I'm making the adjustments and the levels in the post-editing workflow, I'll put those on screen. And I have the DJI Osmo Action 4 for a POV perspective. So So yeah, let's go see what we can record. Also as well, I'm terrible at saying this stuff in videos. I do find it cringy, but I know it's a part of playing the game of YouTube. So if this video is doing you any favors, if you're enjoying it, do like the video. If you have anything to say about it, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a comment. And if you like this sort of stuff, if you like my other content, subscribe to the channel. There's no obligation. It's okay, I won't come after you if you don't, but yeah, I don't really ask for likes and subscriptions too much, so like and subscribe, I guess. This is the Rode NTG5 and Sennheiser MKE600. The Rode is in channel 1 at 40 dB of gain. Sennheiser is in channel 2 at 50 dB of gain. With the wide coat basket on the NTG5 and the Bumblebee wind pillar on the Sennheiser. So there we have it. That is some of the audio recordings of the shotgun microphones. So as I mentioned, they're the mono recordings where you hear it evenly in both ears. And that's how I tend to use them. So with the CLippy M272s, I'll often go and leave them in a location for a bit. I'll pick up the ambience, come back and pick them up. It's, yeah, nice ways to do it. If you're not present, I tend to find that animals are more comfortable. They make more natural noises. If you're around, things tend to hide and be a bit quieter, so it's quite nice to be able to leave your audio source there and just, or leave your audio recorder there and then come back to it. Equally though, it is nice to go around with a microphone and record as you go. I have just heard some ravens and I'd love to record them, so I might hang around for a bit, and this way I can just move around. If I see them, I can quickly get the microphone in the right direction. It's quite a nice way to do it. The only issue that you do find when you're handling your microphones is you can introduce some unwanted noise into your audio recordings. So you may have heard there was the odd time I just felt like I could hear the little bit of movement between my hand and the handle for the Rode NTG5 in particular. I feel like I could hear it a bit with the headphones. It's kind of annoying. I tried to put I have a little balaclava with me. I tried to put this around the handle to dampen the sound a little bit. I find like if I was wearing a glove, it might help. So that's a little downside to handheld recording, is you can introduce bumps, scrapes. Sometimes your hands creak. I don't know if it's just me. Not sure why. It's quite annoying, but look, what can you do? So pros and cons, but either way it's fun. And one thing, if you are getting into audio recording, I neglected this, get some good headphones. I mean, I'm going to say it's maybe something you don't think of. It's something you should think of. It's audio, it makes sense. It's probably quite important to be able to hear what you're recording. My Tascam FRAV2 has Bluetooth connectivity, so I've been using Bluetooth headphones. There's no cables, but you can't really hear the details, so you can't hear if if there's noise that you don't want in your recording. So if you get some good headphones, it makes a big difference. Oh no, just had a raven, that was good. Where is it? Oh, it's just there. Raven. Anyway, so the headphones I went for, I'll grab them and show you. So I have these ones. These are Sony, so they're MDR7506, and I absolutely love them. They're really, really useful. See here, hard to do with one hand, but they'll fold up, so they're easy to transport. They are incredibly detailed. Like I mentioned, I was hearing a bit of motion between my hand and the handle. It could just be the headphones sort of amplifying that noise a bit and making it sound worse than it is. Either way it's good, because if I can reduce it and it doesn't sound so bad with these on, then it should be good on the laptop. But these are really sensitive, very good. They're about €100, I think, which I think is really good. I was considering getting the Beyerdynamic, I think it was something 5.5, they're about €160. I ended up going for these and I have no regrets. I haven't tried the other ones, but I am perfectly happy with these. So headphones are another important factor. But yeah, I'm gonna walk home now. If I record anything good, I will put in the audio. And next what we'll do is we're gonna go somewhere a little bit windier and we'll try some different wind protection to see what that does for our recordings. Well, you joined me on a windy evening here in the hills. I didn't actually need to come up to Crewe Court to do this, but I just knew it would be windy, so here we are. But look, the Rode NTG5, Sennheiser MKE600, similar setup. They have the difference of 10 dB in gain. They're into the Tascam FRAV2. They're the exact same type of cable. So what I'm going to do, right now you're hearing me on the DJI Mic 2. I'll switch over to those microphones. They actually have no wind protection on them right now, so it's probably just going to be pure wind. I don't know if this will even be detecting me. We're then going to try, I'll come a bit closer to show you these. So I'll just speak a bit closer as well, so I don't know if you can hear me speaking to the Sennheiser right now. I'm speaking to the Rode, so I'm not sure how it'll pick me up. But these are the wind protections I have. These are light foam covers. They're not really going to offer a whole deal of wind protection, but we'll see how they sound. We're then going to try the dead cats. For the dead cats, we have the Bumblebee Wind Killer. That's about €100. Then we have the Rode one that came with the Rode NTG5. Then we're going to go to the Blimp, which will only go on the NTG5. You get to hear how much that cuts down on this wind. Okay, so you are now hearing me with just the foam windshields on the microphones. So we have the Rode NTG5 at 40 dB of gain into the Tascam FRAV2 and the Sennheiser MKE600 at 50 dB of gain into the Tascam FRAV2. Here's a breezy evening here in the Comores. Yes, that is how that sounds. So next we'll go to the dead cats. We'll hear what they're like. In fact, before that, I'm just going to let the microphones play and we'll just listen to the sounds that they pick up. Then we'll switch over. So this time we now have the Sennheiser MKE600 with the Bumblebee wind killer and the Rode NTG5 with its kit dead cat, so we should hear a bit of a difference now. For the setup that I have, this is as good as it's going to get for the Sennheiser. I don't have any better wind protection for it. However, for the Rode, we do have substantially better wind protection. So we'll have a go with that in a second. Again, same settings, I'm about 6 feet away from the microphones. So yeah, hopefully that sounds all right. One other thing to speak about, the Rode NTG5, I got it back in November of last year, so November of 2025. I can't remember if I mentioned it in this vlog already. I had one before secondhand and it suffered with interference. I had to send it back. I bought this one brand new online. It's been absolutely fine. Then literally in the last week or two, it started having some interference. There's a big old pylon over there with all these, I think it's something to do with radio or signal or something, I'm not fully sure, but I'm very intrigued to see if we're getting interference with the Rode up here. Hopefully we're not, but you might be able to hear some of that. So yeah, I'm rambling now, but that's something I've had with the Rode NTG5. Anyway, I'll let you guys listen to the wind protection again, and yeah, I'll come out of the way. So for the blimp, what we're going to have is this basket that goes around the microphone. When this goes around, so it attaches to this black bit here, there is a bit of space between the microphone and this basket. To my understanding, that creates a bit of air which helps with attenuating wind, apparently. Something like that. That's what I read online. Don't know the exact physics, but look, we're going to try with just the basket, then with the wind jammer on as well. Once this is all fully assembled, we should be absolutely flying. So you're either going to hear my voice nice and clearly, and hopefully that's all we'll have. There might be some interference mixed in, so fingers crossed we won't get that. So put this together and see what we can hear. Okay, so I just had a brief little listen there. I've got some Bluetooth earphones with me. It actually does not sound too terrible. So again, we have the Sennheiser on the left and the Rode on the right. They look like they're aiming a bit more at my abdomen height, so I'm going to elevate them now quickly. Just going to touch closer. Where are we? Something like that should do it. Give you a little bit of that. Let's see. Yeah, now we're talking. So they're pointed much more at me. And again, I'm probably 6 to 7 feet away from these microphones, speaking at normal loudness. So what I'll do is I'll play the DJI Mic 2 that's connected to the receiver on the Nikon Z6 II. That's what we're filming on. Then we have the Sennheiser MKE600 now, and then we have the Rode NTG5 with just the basket and the Rycote super blimp. That's the NTG5 kit. So that's these two microphones, 2 different wind protections. So again, I'll leave you guys to have a listen. My last trick, we have the, again, Sennheiser with the Bumblebee wind killer, and now the full shebang with the Rycote basket and wind jammer on the NTG5. I would imagine that the Sennheiser is probably pretty clear, but with a little bit of rumble coming across every now and then. The Rode, on the other hand, is probably, I'd say it's fine. So yeah, from my experience, like, it's just phenomenal. Such good wind protection, and I'm hoping that you'll be hearing the difference from that. And you see the sort of wind we have. If you look at the fur on the wind jammer, you can see that change in wind direction, and it's not buffeting it too much, but it should be doing a great job in this sort of wind. Now, if you go around that side, that is very windy, so I don't think much would survive around there. But yeah, actually, I'll walk a bit further away as well, and we'll see how they pick me up. I'll also walk around and do some projection stuff as well. So this is me on the DJI Mic 2. You should hear me loud and clear even though I'm far away in the frame. And then this is me with the Sennheiser MKE600, trying to speak at the same sort of level as I am with the DJI Mic 2. And now you're hearing me with the Rode NTG5. Now these microphones are coming in a little bit diagonal, so I might be not perfectly on centre for both of them, but it should pick me up. So yeah, that is the wind protection that these two different wind killing devices provide. So again, I'll stop yapping and you can just have a listen, take in the view and see what you can hear. So I'm just speaking now to the microphones. Again, this is me in front. I'm just going to walk around and keep speaking the same sort of loudness. So yeah, this is me speaking to the left side, so you'll be able to get an idea of how well they're blocking out the sound and how the rejection is. Behind them and so directly behind the microphones now, speaking the same level of voice and volume. So yeah, that's how I sound right now. Then we'll come around to the other side. So yeah, speaking again, and this is how I'm sounding. So I'm closer to the Sennheiser this time. I'm coming back around to the front just so you can hear me coming back into position where you might expect me to be. So this kind of gives you an example of how they reject the human voice. Now, I know if you're watching my channel, you're probably wanting these for wildlife and nature. I would like to have brought you some more nature sounds, but yeah, this is about wind protection and a little bit of rejection and stuff like that. So here we go. Hopefully this has been useful. So give you a few final thoughts on both of these microphones, then we'll wrap it up. So these microphones, what would I have to say about them? Well, they're both very good, and they're good for different reasons. If I had to recommend one, if you'd asked me 3 months ago, I'd have said, right, Rode NTG5 sounds better, it is better. However, the fact that I'm having interference with my second one that's brand new, it really does taint my experience with the microphone. It's a little bit frustrating because I do like the way it sounds. There's a certain clarity to the audio that you get with it, but the interference is just no good. The Sennheiser, on the other hand, it is dead reliable. I've had no issues. Every time I press that record button, it does what I expect it to do. There's no interference, no issues, absolutely fine. The only issue I have with the Sennheiser is I'm not sure that I like the way the audio is at times. I don't know if it'll have came across earlier, but when I was doing both microphones at the same time, and I was aiming towards the water, aiming towards the birds, I believe it's the roll off of the microphone. So with the microphone, when you point it at your sound source, as you go away from it, it rejects the sound in a certain way, and different microphones have different characteristics. I'm not sure I like the way the Sennheiser rejects sound that's off axis. It sounds to me a little bit like you're in some sort of echo chamber or something. It's a little bit funny. I'm not sure that I like that. The Rode, on the other hand, sometimes it feels like it's not really rejecting sound that much, and it's got a sort of flatter roll off. So it seems like the rejection isn't so good with the Rode sometimes. So it's for and against. So I don't know, that's down to personal preference. I prefer the way the Rode NTG5 does it. That's just me. If I had to recommend one, I think given the price, the Sennheiser is very good. And the fact that you can plug it directly into your camera like it was at the start of the video, that's so useful. Now the audio isn't as good when you do that. There's slightly higher self noise, that little hiss in the background, but that is very versatile and very useful. So I would probably, if you're getting into audio anyway, in fact I would recommend the Sennheiser. It's great to start off with. That's what I've done. I've upgraded to the NTG5, the old interference machine. But that's been my experience anyway. When it comes to quiet scenarios though, there is a big difference in the audio. As far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, there's a big difference. I can really hear how quiet the NTG5 is. There's none of that hiss. In comparison to the Sennheiser anyway, there's very little hiss. So I'm looking forward to, in the next few months, when it comes into October, when the deer are rutting, I'll get out with both microphones, I'll try and make some recordings. I may have to send the Rode NTG5 back, so it should still have a warranty, so hopefully I could maybe get one that doesn't have interference issues. So I might have to cross that bridge soon, which again, it's an annoyance, but look, it is what it is. But yeah, it's hard to recommend one solely over the other one, but if you're starting out, I'd say the Sennheiser is the best one. If you like this video, really appreciate if you give it a like. If you like the sort of content that I'm making, do subscribe. And yeah, hopefully this has been useful for you. So if you have any questions, do let me know, put them in the comments, I'll reply. And if you're using any of this equipment, let me know how you're getting on with it. That's it. Thank you very much for watching.